My husband Ray has had IBM. He was originally diagnosed with polymyositis. We think he's probably in year 16. He's now kind of quadriplegic, has very limited use of his arms and legs. He has almost none of his arms, and he doesn't have too much of his hands at this point. And so we've bought a bunch of stuff over the years. He was actually diagnosed in 2005. In January 2011, he got his first scooter. He stopped standing in April 2013. So, and now since June 2014, we've used the patient lift for literally all transfers. So, we're pretty well versed on stuff. What I'd like to do as far as this presentation, I want to talk maybe for 10 to 15 minutes about things that we feel are exceptionally useful, and then we're going to open it up to the group. We're going to also, the last 15, 20 minutes, we're going to talk about things that are more towards advanced IBM. We've been using adaptive clothing now, and I'm going to do a demonstration, if you all would like, of how I get someone, my husband, in and out of bed. He's wearing adaptive clothing because I didn't plan this right. So due to modesty's sake, I'm going to need to ask someone to volunteer for me to get you up out of bed. So otherwise his bottom's going to be shining. We don't want that. All right. This is my daughter, Helen. She's lives about an hour and a half from us, so she comes in periodically. She helps us on a limited basis. She's great for helping Ray with a lot of the fetch and goes. She doesn't do any of the nitty-gritty stuff, so that's all up to me. If any of your IBMers have ever served in the armed forces, everyone thinks, well, I'm not a veteran. Well, if you ever served in the armed forces, you need to go attend the veterans workshops. Ray is going to be presenting, and along with Bob Crean at 7 o'clock. The VA has been an immense help to us. You don't have to have a service-connected disability to qualify for medical. Medical is what provides all the equipment, all the stuff. And Ray is only considered 30% disabled, and yet they've covered all of our handicapped equipment, and they even pay me to take care of my husband.
That's why she does the nitty-gritty stuff.
I don't get paid. They're not paying me. He'll talk about it tonight, so but I highly, highly recommend everyone to attend that if your IBMer has ever served in the armed forces. All right, on to things that we have used. Ray is still very active on the computer. He uses Dragon speech recognition software. He's about to go into a new wheelchair. We thought this was great, but he'll talk more about the new one he's going to be getting, which is the latest and greatest of Permobile. He will actually be able to stand in the Permobile in order to relieve pressure on his bottom, which we think is just cool. Now, he doesn't stand. He hasn't stood in 3 years. And in fact, he's going to have a bone density test before Permobile will allow him to stand in it. But anyway, so that's going to be very cool. Ray, why don't you talk a little bit about the Library of Congress?
Excuse me. Well, first on the Dragon software, it's speech to text. Windows does have a version of it that works pretty good, and it comes with Windows, so you don't have to go out and buy Dragon. Another thing I use a lot, I've lost just about all use of my arms, very little use left on the hands, but I can still operate a mouse on the computer. So Windows also has an on-screen keyboard that between that and speech recognition, I'm still able to get on the computer. The program BARD that Camille mentioned, it's through the Library of Congress. When you get to the point where you can't handle a book I don't know if any of you listen to audio books. I used to get them from Audible, one book a month for like 15 bucks. But it gets to the point where either blind or mobility causes you a problem where you can't handle a book. You can go to your local library. They work with the Library of Congress, and you can go out there and get all the audio books that you want for free. You can download them like I do, to a tablet or cell phone, or they will send you a machine and you tell them what kind of book you want and they'll send it to you on tape. Really good service. And as far as gadgets and gizmos, the best one is laying down here on the floor. Pac-Man stand, good boy. This is Pac-Man. We've had him for, it'll be a year in November. He knows 50-some commands. It cost us absolutely nothing. We got it through Canine Companions. And he was born and bred to be a service dog. Actually, he was bred to be...
Canine Companions for Independence.
He was actually bred to be a breeder, but they took his sister instead, so he ended up in the service dog program. We've had him, like I say, for about a year. He was in training his first 2 years of life. And, it's 50-some commands, the biggest ones that we use other than the how to get around type stuff and the heel and side, let's go and back up and all that stuff. He opens and closes doors, especially the sliding door in the back of our house that goes out to the porch. You hang a rope from the handle and give him a command. He'll open the door, and I can get out on the back porch, and then he comes and closes the door behind me, and then he'll do the reverse when I want to come in. If I drop something, he'll pick it up and come up and put it in my lap. But he's the best asset so far. 2 months after we had him, I had my blood pressure checked and it went down 20 points. So he's a good companion. He's as much of a pet as he is a service dog, but I've got some more information on Canine Companions. I'll have some little brochures out there in the hospitality center, and you can get up with me if you want some more details. What am I forgetting?
Ray was a little hesitant to apply for a service dog because he felt I had my hands full with him anyway. And I encouraged him to do it. And as I will tell you, we've always had dachshunds. It was the first big dog we've ever had. He is so much easier to take care of than any other dog we have ever had, because he is so gorgeously trained. He was in training for 2 years before we got him. And I have to trim his nails. He cuddles up in my lap and rolls on his back for me to dribble his nails. I invite him to come and hop in the shower with me, and that's how I bathe him. He's amazingly easy. The only thing I will say, he sheds like nobody's business. So I do have to vacuum more. But other than that, he's absolutely no problem. And he's a wonderful, wonderful addition to our family, to our team. He is our team member. So he goes with us everywhere. He even has been to the ballet with us. He goes to movies. He goes to restaurants. We've been advised we need to leave him home occasionally, but so that he'll know, he won't have separation anxiety. But I don't think we've left him at home more than 2 or 3 times in the last year since we've had him. So, as far as moving on, Travel Johns. These are the coolest things ever. We keep them on the back of Ray's chair, and they are gel-filled portable urinals. They're very, very handy. They're a little pricey, they cost about well, we get them by the box, and I think they cost a little more than $1 each. Travel Johns, you can get them on Amazon, and then you use it, and you can just, it doesn't spill because of the gel in it, and you just dispose of it. They're very, very handy. And I understand too that you can get gadgets for as far as women go, that you can actually stand up and use it, so that I'm not as well versed on the female plumbing as I am on the males. What is it?
Go Girl.
Go Girl. Okay, so there are ways around it.
I got 2 more things before I go.
Okay.
One thing I forgot, it's kind of in conjunction with the Travel John, since I can't use a urinal myself or anything. started using external catheters and collection bags, and that way I can run around the conference all day long and not have to bother Camille or Helen.
We don't have to lurk outside the men's rooms anymore.
Yeah, I was saying that in the IBM caregivers group, you know, every time you have to go to a new piece of equipment, it's kind of like, oh, this is terrible, you know, oh, I hate this, he hates it. First of all, he hates it, you know, and he's as stubborn as any other of the IBM patients, I'm sure. But it's once you get through the initial learning of the equipment and all the headaches associated with this, then it is frustrating learning a new piece of equipment. But after a while, that it's like, oh, there's a sense of freedom. And I kind of felt like that with the external catheters, because I've been joined at the hip with him for about 5 months because I couldn't go anywhere. Well, now that he's hooked up, it's like, whoo, I am free once again. You know, so it's you know, it's always hard with a new piece of equipment or a new disability that you have to overcome, and not that you overcome it, but you've got to find another way.
One more. And I can no longer lift my arms, so I can't feed myself. I used to be able to lean way to the left and get my right arm up. I can't do that anymore. But I have an ectoskeleton. You don't need to break it out now.
Oh, I want to show it, honey.
Okay. She's going to bring out the ectoskeleton. It hooks up to the right arm, and with that, I'm able to feed myself. And like right now, I'm trying to raise my right arm, and it just won't go. So I can't even raise a spoon or fork or a glass of water or anything. I don't have a grip to get a glass of water anyway, so we use these Tervis cups. It's in the cup holder on the, lift that up, would you? With the handle, I can get my 4 fingers through the handle, and I'm able to drink out of that with the straw. Again, that's Tervis, so you can get another type of cup, and you can get the Tervis handles to go on it.
We keep this in his backpack. At home, I keep it fully assembled, and I just lay it on a couple of chairs. So it's always there, but when we're traveling or going to a restaurant or something, he keeps it in the restaurant. You see how easy it is to go together. All right, so with this.
This is a Jayco lift, or Jayco ectoskeleton. Give me that cup, please. Turn the handle over this way, towards me. Yeah. So
Sure?
Well,
Kind of. He doesn't have it in the right spot.
Okay.
There we go.
with this, I can lift my arm up and spill stuff all over them because the straw's coming out the other way. Go ahead and take it. That's
The way around that is I turn it around this way.
But the same way with a spoon or fork or whatever, after Camille cuts up all the food and everything.
Is this device that you have, did you have one last year in Orlando too, something like that?
I had 2 representatives come in last year at the Orlando conference. One was Jayco. The other guy was, I forgot the name of it, it's an XAR arm, does the same thing. I went with Jayco because they're covered by insurance. The other company was relatively new. Their arm was $5,000, and they're not covered by insurance. But both arms do basically the same thing.
So, do they both cost about the same? Because you said one is 5,000, what's the first Jayco one? How much does that cost?
Where's my mic? I don't really know because when I contacted the Jayco guy, within about a week, he met us at the VA hospital in St. Pete and demonstrated the arm. They'd never seen it. The occupational therapist, 2 or 3 of them, and an OT doctor. And they liked it so much that they paid for mine. So I don't know what the actual selling cost is. Like I say, the other guy was $5,000. This guy, if you don't have the VA to fall back on, it is covered by Medicare and Blue Cross Blue Shield, that kind of thing.
So tell me, I don't know what, mentally, psychologically, do you love this thing, the ability to do this?
Oh, this arm?
Yeah,
Yes, indeed.
absolutely
I
right.
love it. It's one of the next to Pac-Man, it's probably one of the best gadgets and gizmos I use.
Yeah, 'cause
I like to be
there's a lot
able
of research going on in this exoskeleton area, so that's why I was asking if they've come up with some new models and, you know.
There's some that are being researched. In fact, JACO is looking at the disadvantage to this. I can't wear it all the time because it sticks 6 or 8 inches, 10 inches out from the side of the chair. And when I first got it in the conference last year, I was trying to come up the aisle for something and I was banging into people and everything else. So even at home, I don't wear it because I can't get through doors. But I love being able to feed myself now. It's great. And the last time I talked to the rep from JACO, they are looking at a way to mount it so it doesn't stick out past the chair, and also putting servos in all the joints so you actually get a little bit of assistance in lifting, in addition to the rubber bands that supply the zero gravity now. But I love it, you know. If you can't feed yourself, that's not a good place to be. And it's being able to feed myself and still being able to operate a wheelchair and hold on to my dog it makes life worthwhile.
Now, wait a minute. Last year, he said one of the main advantages was he got to give us hugs for the first time. Now you see where we have dropped down from the top of the pecking order.
Yeah, that too.
So the one thing we have discovered, though, we were hoping he'd be able to wear it all the time. And as it turns out, he can't, you have to add rubber bands to this depending on what you're doing. So if we have it on for him to be able to bring his hand up to his mouth, he can't operate the joystick or the pad on the computer. So, I mean, that means if he wanted to use it using the computer, then I would have to be there to adjust the, to take off the rubber bands and put them back on. And he can still, using the on-screen keyboard, he can still operate the computer just fine. So, it's just easier for us to put it on a couple of chairs and leave it there until we need it for meals and snacks. Now, we did forget Ray's special cup last night when we went out to dinner. And I was like, oh, he has to have a handle. And we used the Tervis handles right here. This is a Tervis cup, but we didn't originally start using the cups because they have a pry-off lid and he couldn't open it up himself. So we started using just a generic plastic cup that comes with a straw. You can pick them up anywhere. And they're a little bit too large, or small rather, for this Tervis handle. So we would take one of the Myositis wristbands and stick it underneath there and it'd keep it in place. So get yourself a wristband before you leave, and you'll be able to multitask with it. But these are wonderful, wonderful, because Ray uses this for hot, cold. He uses it for beer. He uses it for wine, bourbon, whatever. It all goes into this. And we have 3 or 4 Tervis handles with cups affixed to them at the house, so I don't have to keep washing them all the time. So the other thing that we've been using, as far as you can see where our priorities are. It's all about food. We don't use adaptive silverware. I bought a couple of different gyrations for him, and he really had a hard time with them. We tried the kind with the curved bowl, or the curved things that go this way. No. Tried some big fat ones that you slip over the existing. No, that didn't work either. I just found some silverware, and it was over at, I don't know, TJ Maxx or Marshall's or one of those. And I'm looking for the spoon. He pretty much uses just a spoon these days, but he has in the past used forks as well. But Ray, show them how you hold this. So,
Since it's got a flat handle, it just kind of fits between 3 fingers here, and with the use of the assistance from the ectoskeleton, I'm able to reach the dish and get stuff up. But I also wear a bib all the time, because if it's liquid, it gets real messy.
yeah, it's just got a plastic handle on it. And I also picked up a very inexpensive set earlier on from Dollar General. I mean, super cheap, but it had the plastic handle, and that worked. This is called the Scan Pan, and it's not available online that I know of, so just keep a lookout when you're out shopping. but it's kind of a rubbery kind of finish to it, which makes it a little easier for him. The other thing, and Ray's not able to really use this now, but he used it pretty exclusively, these little mini tongs. These are great, and I'll also pick these up at TJ Maxx. He was having trouble squeezing them, so I just added a rubber band right there. He can eat pizza with this. And, the other thing too, as far as just buying different foods for people that are having trouble with grip, we found that if I go to the bakery at our Publix grocery store and they have French hamburger and hot dog buns, they hold together better. So Ray was able to eat a chili dog, things like that. We tend to do a lot of grilled cheese sandwiches and things that put cheese on both sides of it and grill it till it melts it. It holds everything together much more carefully. We need a mic over here?
Yes, ma'am. Here.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Hi, Ray. Are you having trouble swallowing?
Yes.
So,
The beginnings of dysphagia,
I'm guessing you, other than selecting foods that may be more conducive to swallowing, there's no adaptive devices you found to help with that?
Not that I know of. I have started picking the food that I eat, stuff that's really stringy, like steak of all things. I've quit eating pork, that kind of stuff. But I have to chew and chew and chew and chew until it's the consistency of baby food. And then with every swallow of food, I have to drink water, and then drink water again before I get another one. I have choked a couple times, and it's embarrassing in a restaurant, but it is a problem. It's kind of inherent with IBM. I've heard things about, I don't know, they dilate your windpipe, and there's some kind of Botox treatment and all that, but I just had a swallowing study done a couple weeks ago, and I'm not ready for that, and I'm not ready for a tube yet. So, but yes, it is a problem.
So you would crush your medication, I guess.
I still take the pills whole, and I have more trouble swallowing a couple of them than anything else. It feels like they get hung up right on top of my windpipe, and I have to drink a glass or two of water or eat something to get it to dislodge. But that's one thing we're looking at is liquid versions of some of the meds that have the biggest pills.
And the doctor who was working with the speech or with the swallowing studies recommended putting things like, putting your pills into applesauce or pudding or something like that. So it depends on what you have trouble. We've got a question over here.
Sauces are your friend. You need to think about, well, you can eat the same food, you just got to think about prepping them different. I can eat all the mashed potatoes and gravy that I want. Luckily for me, I love mashed potatoes and gravy. That also means that I can eat all the hot turkey sandwiches that I want. Some places call them a commercial. That's the 2 slices of turkey, the bread, and then it's all covered with gravy. Well, that's something that does not hang up for me. There are food, you eat the fried potatoes with all the little squares, that's an invitation. You're going to be coughing one of those back up. I think it just requires some forethought and some thinking. You can eat a lot of the same foods, sauce, prep,
Yeah, the person that was working with Ray on his swallowing, he says, you can still eat potato chips, but just make sure you put a lot of dip with it.
Keep everything soggy.
All right, I'm going to turn it over just for everyone to start contributing now. So we want to hear your ideas. We learn from these things as well as you do, and we'll stop in a little bit to go into more of the advanced things. We have a question over here.
Oh, it's just to go on with the thickened fluids. Have you, with the speech pathologist, gone to using the thickened fluids? So people with difficulty in swallowing can find it difficult to swallow normal liquids, and moving into thickened fluids is one approach to get your liquids down. They're not pleasant, like thickened apple juice is not very tasty, but at least you can get it down when the problems are enormous. Have you gone to thickened fluids at all? Okay.
One thing I did forget to mention, and I apologize, these are, it's basically shelf liner. These things are fabulous. When I'm getting Ray dressed in the morning, he'll be laying in bed. I wad him up and put one under his heels, and it will keep his knees up. We've used them to keep transfer boards in place, like if I was using it to push him onto to the toilet seats. You could put that underneath the transfer board, and it'll keep it a little more stationary, whereas you want to put it in a plastic bag afterwards. We actually were big proponents of transfer boards. We used transfer boards much longer than we should have, and the advantage to that is they're portable, they're always there. We still carry one in the trunk of the car now, just in case we ever get into a bind, because you know we have, when we're traveling, we actually had to go to a hospital one time with the patient lift to get him into a bathroom, you know, so, and that's something to keep in mind. If you ever need a big bathroom, go to the hospital. They'll let you in.
What do you mean you used it longer than you should have?
Ray was not able to really...
Could you repeat your question, please?
Oh, how long, she wanted to know how long...
She said that they used it for longer than they should have, and I
Yeah.
asked her what that meant.
Okay. Ray was not able to stand at all, and you know, he was pretty much dead weight on the transfer board. We gave it up when he was really having trouble with balance, as far as, you know, sliding across it. Also, we gave it up when the occupational therapist said, oh, you're going to end up having pressure sores, or, you know, burns, you know, problems with the bottom. He's a big guy, and it was a lot of weight, and we ended up going to a BZ board after that, which takes some getting used to, but it works. But, you know, it enabled us to travel much longer. You know, there's people that, you know, have the push-tush things, and I think that they figure out there's no other way. And so they sit at home because they can't take it with them traveling. The transfer boards really do work, and what I would do is I'd put a gait belt around his hips. I'd get him positioned, and I would pull him across that transfer board. Not something that any occupational therapist would ever tell you to do. But, you know, it's served us pretty well for quite some time. And like I said, it's always there if I need it. I don't think I want to try it these days because Ray is very heavy and he's kind of dead weight, and he has trouble keeping his torso upright at this point. But I keep it in there just in case.
When I lost my upper body strength,
Wait.
when I lost my upper body strength, then it was just too much work on Camille and too dangerous that I might slip off. And like she said, I was dead weight. That's when the occupational therapist said, use the patient hoist.
That's what they said.
Yeah, don't do it anymore. So we were lucky.
One of my biggest fears when I'm traveling, is going into a bathroom to relieve myself of solid waste. And sitting down, this big fear of not being able to get up. I'm wondering how others might have dealt with that. I'm still able to do it, but boy, it sure is
Are you able to
for me to
stand?
push myself up.
Are you able to stand?
Yeah, I can stand, I can still walk, but it's awful darn difficult for me to push up. I find if I'm in a bathroom that doesn't have rails, and you know, you don't always have the luxury when you need to use the restroom of having a handicap stall available. And I too work through the VA. Just saw them a couple of weeks ago, and they ordered like a portable toilet, for want of a better word, a razor to sit on, which may be cumbersome to travel with. You've got to get bring a garbage bag or something so you don't really embarrass yourself going into a restaurant or a gas station. I'm kind of, you know, running on here at the mouth, but I'm just curious Others I know have had to face this, and Ray, you probably faced it before you got where you are. Yes, sir. Thank you.
I have the same problem. I cannot get off of the toilet at all by myself. Except I went on Amazon and they have toilet seats that's 5 inches high. It fits either elongated or round stools, and it has handles on it. You fit it right on there and you turn a little knob and it locks it in place. You can push yourself up out of it.
Do you know what it's called?
It's a toilet seat riser.
Toilet.
Yeah, toilet riser, something
Yeah,
of
they're
that nature.
plastic and,
We're from New York and Rite Aid.
Most of the medical supply houses where you would go and buy wheelchairs or supplies carry those.
Walgreens has
Walgreens carries.
they carry them at Walgreens.
Well, I was going to say the CVS and those that have a home health division also have them, but they make them from just a couple of inches up to about 5 or 6 inches, and that's an interim. We finally reached the point where we had an engineer friend who made an over-the-commode commode, if you will, that was on hinges. We could fold it up. You mentioned garbage bag. I laughed. We put it in a big black garbage bag and carried it through many hotel lobbies, and nobody had any idea what I had. But those kinds of things will work also.
This one not so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Again, I don't know what an OT, an occupational therapist, or a physical therapist would say, but I invented, I had surgery on my left arm, and I had a cast, and I had to get up off the toilet. And my husband went to get a raised toilet seat, and by the time he came back, I push off at the back with my opposite hand. I balance myself with my other hand on the toilet, and I can push myself up without even needing this arm that was in a cast. And I've used that. I use it in public toilets and everywhere, and I seem to be able to always get up. But I push back. If there's a toilet tank, it's really helpful. I put my opposite hand on the toilet tank, use that, balance myself with the toilet seat, and I'm up. You're a lot shorter. So, pardon?
You're a lot shorter.
Yeah. But anyway, I also, I use this, and an occupational therapist told me about it at Johns Hopkins. It raises me 4 inches. It weighs like nothing. You can carry it anywhere, put it over your shoulder, and I love it. It comes in 2 inches, 4 inches. I got it off of Amazon and their health aids. It's made by Hermel, Hermell, and it is just great. It raises me up.
That's a toilet seat raiser?
No, it's nothing toilet seat. It's in a chair. I put it in a wheelchair, on a chair, carry it everywhere, and it gives me 4 extra inches of oomph.
So since we are on the subject of number 2, I flew down here from Florida on the latest Airbus plane, and the latest part is that damn toilet is even narrower. It's just amazing, and I had a dickens of a time, getting up off of the toilet. But generally, as a man, I try not to, I take care of the business before, but when you have to. So, it's tougher, and, I was like, man, on an airplane, I got to figure out, I got to go back and, think about this, how on an airplane on a seat I'm going to get up, I'm not as, far advanced as you are, Ray, in the disease, but I still have a problem getting off of the toilet. But I'll tell you something. One thing which is, I can only do this at home, is, 2 years ago, I got the, I don't know if you guys have heard of the Toto toilet seat. It cost $1,000.
Toto.
Washlet. Toto, T-O-T-O, washlet. To me, it's as great an invention as like cell phone to a rotary phone, because it has As a matter of fact, we got rid of the bidet at home, you know, because we used to have a bidet and a toilet seat. We got this toilet seat. It's, you know, you hook up the water to it. It has different, you know, it comes out, the arm comes out and sprays your, you know, so your rear. Or if it's a woman and you want to do, you know, the bidet functions, you know, it goes up further. And then after it's all done, because you know you don't have to touch, then you press a button and the fan comes on and it dries it. Okay? And then it also has, you can control the temperature of the water. There's, you know, and it feels really good, you know. And hold on, there's more if you order now. No, it has also a fan that sucks. It's a charcoal, you know, based fan, so you don't get any smell in the bathroom. But for me, the reason I actually mention it was as an IBM patient, it lifts me up this much. You know, I got the ADA compliant toilets, and getting up off of those toilets is, you know, much easier. And you know, you can also change the flow, whether you want fast, slow, and all that. You could just sit there all day and enjoy it. So just think about it.
And if you're using a patient list for transfers onto the toilet like we do, you have to get the aim exactly right.
I was just going to say, Rich can no longer just use a toilet seat riser. His muscles are so far gone. But we have a electric toilet seat lift, which they're going to have a lift chair, which they're going to actually have on display here, and it holds a Toto washlet. So it's fabulous because he gets washed and blown dry and wiped and everything, and then lifted up to a point where he can get to his wheelchair to transfer. So, and they are going to make one a lift chair that is portable. It goes in a fairly big case, but it's battery operated. And the VA is looking into getting one for us so we can travel.
Yeah, they make a toilet aid on wheels too that you can roll. Stand-Aids of Iowa. Stand-Aids of Iowa makes a portable toilet. It'll lift you up 13 inches, and you just roll you over your legs and stand up after that. But it's fairly expensive though. But they'll probably have one on display here tomorrow. So, but it's a good deal.
I'm going to have to cut in here. We're down to the last 10-15 minutes. So if anyone would like to stay, and I'm going to take my guinea pig daughter, since Ray's using the wrong pants. First of all,
I told you to put different pants.
we tried adaptive pants on Ray a couple of years ago when he first went in the wheelchair, and he hated them. He just hated them. They were not comfortable. I have found since then that the key to comfortable pants for him is it's a polyester cotton blend with spandex. That spandex makes all the difference in the world. It's easy to find in women's clothes, not so easy to find in men's. I have found a wonderful company though that was on our IBM Caregivers Facebook group. First of all, on your handout, Facebook is really a valuable resource, and within each one of the groups, there is a search this group button, so that if you have questions, say on toileting or anything else, you can go on to any of the myositis groups. If you're looking for myositis groups, you have to actually, if you're looking for IBM, you need to type in inclusion body myositis, and then all the Facebook groups will come up. There's probably 4 or 5 or 6 of them. We have one just for caregivers. But you can search the group, and every comment that has been made about that will pop up for you. It's a very, very valuable way of doing research. So, but that being said, on the IBM Caregivers group, one of our caregivers said, oh, we found this great company out of Canada called IZ. And we started ordering their pants. They get it right. They're not cheap, but they do get it right. They have the spandex in the pants. Ray's wearing them now, but they have narrow legs, straight legs. They don't have quite so much of a selection in the flat backs. As far as the adaptive clothes, I've started putting a slash up the back of all of Ray's shirts because it's more comfortable for him. It lays better, And it turns out that when you're in a wheelchair, you need a little bit more fullness. You know, you can order them through, you know, some of the companies, and they do like an A-line. Or you can just take your shears and go up halfway up the back. No one's ever going to see it but you, you know. So that's what I've done with all raised shirts. I've even done it with hoodies and jackets. It's like, oh, he had the most wonderful jacket. It's like, oh, but we were going up north, he needed something heavy, and it's like, cut all the way up the back. And it works. It really does work. I mean, he can't get his hands up over his head, you know, so I kind of, you know, put on the sleeves and then flip it over his head now. So there's ways of doing it without spending a lot of money on adaptive clothing. Something else I've been doing too, because we both love those flat backs now. He just sits on a towel, by the way, and to keep him from messing up his wheelchair.
Too much information.
Oh well, but you just slide them up, and there's a flap in the back. So it attaches to Velcro. So what I've done, though, is I've taken all his shorts that he loves wearing around the house with the elastic bands, you know, the stuff you get at Kmart, or even just, you know, gym shorts or whatever, and I've cut out the back, and then I've added flaps myself. Now, if there's anyone who would like a pattern, I brought in a couple of patterns so that you can, and directions of how to cut out the back, add your flaps. So they don't have shorts on that IZ website, so, but it's handy.
My question for anybody in here is, can you help me out? Has anybody used knee braces? Because, you know, when I go for a walk, I wish there was some sort of a, you know, like, you know, exoskeleton type of a mechanism that's comfortable. Has anybody found anything that, so that I don't, you know, we don't fall?
I think I saw Joe Sanchez.
Rich went to Hangar, which is a supply place for adaptive equipment, and he had knee braces for quite a while. They were custom, and they actually fit partly into his shoe and then over his knee, but he was overextending so much because he still can stand and walk limitedly. They have made him custom-made full leg braces. So he wears those, and he's able, as a result of that, to walk around the house with a walker, which he cannot do without them. So they're really good. And again, the VA paid for them.
I use braces, really inexpensive ones by the name of Mueller, M-U-E-L-L-E-R.
Say that again, please.
Mueller, M-U-E-L-L-E-R. They are available by Walgreens online, and they've got aluminum hinges on both sides of the knee. They really do help.
Have you used them?
I have used them quite a bit. I'm not using them right now, but I have used them, and they stabilize your knee. And $22. I mean, as the guy said on TV that night, what have you got to lose?
I think we're probably going to have to end the session. I thank you all very much for coming. If you would like to see a demonstration of the patient lift, we'll be doing this over here. We have one more.
I just wanted to say one more thing about leg braces. I recently got a pair that were custom made. They don't go above the knee, they fit in the shoe, and they stabilize the ankle, and they keep the knee from buckling. You know, they brace the front, and it keeps the knee from buckling so you don't fall. I was a patient at Johns Hopkins, but it was an orthotic place locally called Maryland Orthotics and Prosthetics. And I had some other issues with my foot rolling to the outside, so they made a leg cast. So these are custom made. So far they haven't billed me, you know, I think Medicare has paid for